Here, in this sylvan secret, through which a river rushes, over which, in ages past, would pass a train. Where the city meets the rocks and roots, and both battle bringing to bear a crumbling beauty. And in the furthest recesses of memory, and now and ever, the sun, the moon, the trees, the wind, and the worm. Here once roamed a tiger, born in an unfathomable distance, ripened in continuous exile, arriving when the last great rising of worms reshaped living. He came wounded, and the silence was a salve, and the bark was balm, and the river remedy. And the strivings of civil structure with wild serenity, like the turmoil he was birthed into, mirrored his heart so well that the place came to feel like home. And over time, in devotion to it, the forest revealed itself to him, and he felt healing. And before long, owing to its abundance, generosity. And generosity grew and grew and grew to such unbearable bursting that one night, unable to contain himself and dire to share in natural reverence with another who'd know, he unleashed a thought, an intention into that quiet dark. A tiger's intent is expressed as a scent, and so his scent ascended, climbed above the treetops and wafted eastward, as if calling to the memory of an unspoiled youth. In a nearby graveyard, the coyote kept. It was her home and origin. Here she'd been whelped, and though she had traveled long leagues and lived many lives, here she'd returned to stay. For all time she'd kept company with death and moonlight, catching conies, pondering stones, dancing with branches, howling wind songs, seeing shapes and colors unknown to any senses but her keenest own. And in this life she was alone. But with this life she was content. Then, suddenly, the scent, and the sobriety of her solitude gave way to intoxicating curiosity, which curiosity started her limbs to move, which limbs carried her westward and then southward along that passage where, in times gone, wheels ground on rails unrelenting. So too now was she rolling forth, like freights forgotten. Then, there, on a half-broken bridge, in hints of mist and moonglow, the forever flowing stream below, with little sound but rippling in the scurry of a single mouse, they beheld one another. And they knew. She knew from her dream life past that she loved him, and he knew from his scented prayer that she was the answer, and that the answer would be an eternal yes. And suddenly, as if to seal it and sanctify it, clouds cracked together in a cosmic clap, and the skies wept over them in ecstatic flood. And it was made. Hereafter, they began walking together, and along this bliss path, he pointed her to all the charms of home, and she taught him her wind songs, and how to see her shapes and colors, and he showed her to the choicest hunting grounds, and the scents, sounds, visions of his ancestors, far from here, but close as his heart's beat. And deeper still was this, that they both felt held, comforted, special in the other's sublime company, and finally, above all else, known. And then came the worm's turn. Worms, you see, are patient and work together over expansive spans to break down and regulate extravagance. They dispense humility. Where there is glut, they eat away the excess. For the earth must survive and the worm must survive in order for anything, however brief, to thrive. So miracles appear and vanish in their mealy mouths. Tiger had carried in his gut, since his last exile, a long sleeping assassin of a worm who now began to wake, and after such slumber was due to feast. And so the worm gave a nibble. Tiger felt a slight tug of dissatisfaction. Unaware of what had begun, it seemed to him anomalous, a glitch. Coyote, with her keenest of senses, noticed. Both believed it would pass like a brief breeze. But it sustained, gnawing at his insides resolutely. Dissatisfaction became hunger. As much as he ate, he could not be sated. Coyote now saw the way Tiger spied her, and felt less safe. But still she stood across from him, unwilling to abandon him, yet growing uneasy. In due course, Tiger became ravenous, saw Coyote through wide, famished eyes, bared his teeth to her, and foamed. Coyote, a consummate survivor, but still unwilling to abandon him, was now beginning to shut her door to the passage of trust between them. Who could place blame? Tiger, starving now from the worm's banquet, maddened but adamant against consuming his soul's companion, turned away from Coyote toward the river, fixed fiercely on her reflection in the water. Her heart slowly splitting in two, one half wishing he'd turn back around, and one half hoping she'd soon be spared. Coyote, yet unwilling to abandon him, watched Tiger stalk her flickering likeness, with a locked intent to devour. He was at the water's edge, crouched, his sanity hanging by a hair. She prayed for his return. He pounced upon his prey, and was swallowed up himself, the soft mud sucking him down into absence. Coyote returns to her graveyard in sad relief. She returns to her conies, and her colors, and her wind songs and branch dances. She is gifted with forgetting, and in time she does, and returns, as she always has, to contentment. But when the sun sets, and the moon grows honey bright, her aging body cannot but help release a scent to the wind, which rises, and keeps undetected. And so the worm brings all to balance, and the earth both records and erases with equal indifference all stories of love and loss. Here, in this sylvan secret, through which a river rushes, over which in ages past would pass a train.
I hear a train in the night. Why does this sound keep stabbing at my brain? It's the same old fight. When trains go by, I always think of you. Let me talk to that train in the night. Let me tell you, train, the spell you cast on me. You took him away. Now tell me when you will bring him home again. Bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back. Let me talk to that train in the night. Let me tell you, train, the spell you cast on me. Took him away. Tell me when you will bring him home again.